also, to convince my mom, I showed her some crazy crash videos of rally cars and race cars. The biggest challenge Indian drivers are facing right now. Me personally, being a rally driver, I have a co-driver in the car, and without a proper synchronous relation with him, it's impossible to drive a rally car fast in those narrow stages. 3 national championships over the last 8 years, and I can proudly say that around 5 drivers have come up to my academy who are driving the national championship. I've been into rally racing for the last 8 years.
Hello everyone and welcome to today's exclusive interview. Racing is the ultimate test of man and machine against nature's unpredictable challenges. So today, we welcome Mr. Fabid Ahmer. He's an Indian rally racer who is the first Indian to compete in the Qatar International Rally. Not only rewriting history, but also pioneering Indian representation in an international rally. On behalf of TeamKART and our viewers, I thank you, sir, for joining us today. It is a great honor for us that you are here.
Thank you.
I'm sure there are many fans in the audience, but could you please briefly introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Fabid Ahmer from Kerala. I've been into rally racing for the last 8 years. I've also done a few international rounds. I've won 3 national championships over the last 8 years, and right now I'm driving for MRF tires.
That is great, and thank you very much for that. So I'll just begin with a few questions. So tell us about your early days. How did you start this racing career? What is the thing that you figured out that, okay, racing is where I want to go. Racing is my call. How did you find that?
Well, I've been interested in cars and bikes from a very young age, and I have a family history. My uncle used to do bike racing when I was really young. Eventually, he also started doing 4-wheel rally, and that's when I got really interested in the sport. And one thing led to another, and the passion was calling for me, and I ended up doing my first rally very quickly. And once I started doing it, that's when I understood, okay, this is what I am best at, and I made sure that I did enough efforts to be able to continue for such a long time, and I'm hoping to continue it for another 8 years at least.
That is interesting. In India, we have to convince our parents that we need to follow such a fashion. So how did you convince your parents so that they can support you in such an unconventional journey?
Again, as I said, there is a family background. My family has shown interest in motorsports, especially on my father's side. But convincing them to let me do it was a different story. Especially considering the financial burden which is put on them. But they were able to understand how passionate I am, and once I started with the results, they got to know that I am talented as well. So they thought, okay, it's not a waste of money for supporting me, and so I was able to continue. And also to convince my mom, I showed her some crazy crash videos of rally cars and race cars, which is a very unconventional way, I know, but I showed her that it's quite safe even after such big crashes. Nothing happens to the driver with all the safety. So she was also, okay, she understood that it's okay to do it. That's how I was able to convince.
Well, that is interesting. But I also read on your LinkedIn profile that you have a bachelor's degree. So what were you pursuing in college?
Initially, after PU, I went for engineering. I finished my BTech graduation in computer science, and that's when I was able to convince my parents to put me into racing finally. And I needed some more time before I can get into a job to get my racing career ahead. So side by side, I joined law as well, and I finished that course as well. So I was able to manage both, and somehow I got 2 degrees. But although I think racing has been my passion, and I think all these things I did to make sure that I have a racing career.
That's nice. So by profession, you are a lawyer.
Yes, can't say by profession I'm just a lawyer. I am also a racer. I am able to carry it side by side right now. It's not easy, but again, for the sake of my passion and how much I want to do racing, I am still continuing my efforts, and I make sure I don't lack in both sides. So, yeah, I'm able to do it right now, and I hope to continue it like that.
Well, that is very inspiring for everyone. You are handling both, you are multitasking, and that is a great trait. So, thank you for that. Also, was there any turning point in your life and in your career where you felt that, okay, this was the very important point in my career, and without that, I might not be what I am today?
Of course, honestly, as I said, I started purely as a passion. And the first 3 years of my racing career, I was fully supported financially by my parents. And after 3 years, there came a point where my parents were like, we cannot support you financially anymore. So I was like, okay, then probably I will have to suspend my racing career for a bit and, get it on once I have some sponsorship. But those last few rallies before this happened, I was able to put in some very good performance. I was able to show how much the potential I have. And fortunately, that was noticed by certain sponsors. And initially, I was supported by a team called Champions Yacht Club based on Telangana. And then later on, I was picked up by JK Tires. And now I am with Ahmed. So definitely those great performances has been my turning point. If not for that, I probably would have stopped racing first 3 years.
Well, that is great indeed. So, any memorable events from your early days?
Yeah, so when I started, after my first national rally, we had some local autocrosses happening in around my hometown. And so we prepared very well for that, me and my teams. And we were able to put in a very good performance in my hometown event. And I ended up winning the event. And my father was also there to watch that. So it was a really good, it's a really good memory where that was the first time I was able to show my dad that I can do this very well. And probably that's when he thought, okay, he's ready to invest some money on.
Yeah, it feels really nice when parents are proud of us. So, well, that is very memorable and fascinating. So, you have also seen and watched Indian motorsports, international motorsports. So, who is your favorite racer? Who inspires you the most?
Well, internationally, I would say Belgian rally driver Thierry Neuville. If you look at motorsports, most people who are at the top level, they come from racing backgrounds. Probably their parents are already national champions or international drivers. So they are, grown up in such a way that they end up being in the international stage. But if you look at Thierry, his journey has been quite different. Something like me, he started at a later age and still he was able to do great efforts and be on the top and fighting for the championship. So I get inspired watching him all the time. And in the Indian scene, there's definitely Gaurav Gill. He's the best rally racer India has ever produced. So we all look upon him. We look to him to reach his position. And I also take trainings from him, learning from him quite a lot of things. So definitely we all strive to be a better driver than him. And I think that's what pushes all us rally drivers to perform better and better every day.
Very, very inspiring. Also, you spoke about like how people get into racing at an early stage. But I think you got into racing quite later, means after your graduation. So do you think there is a certain age and certain career path that one should choose if one aspires to be a racer?
Well, as you said, getting in early is always better because it's end of the day, it's a physical sport. You have to have the physical fitness to be competing on the top level. Your time as a racer is limited to maybe 35 or 40 years old. So you have to start early to have maybe a 20-year long, career. And to be competitive at an age of 21 or 22, you would have to start preparing for that at the age of 15 or 14. So however early you can get in, it's better. So I unfortunately couldn't get in that early. I started when I was 22. But with a lot of hard work and with a lot of, perseverance, I was able to, catch up with guys who started much younger than me and probably do better than them. So end of the day, it's all about your efforts, how much effort you can put, how much, perseverance you have. That matters. It's not just the age. But definitely, if you can start at a younger age, it's always better. It gives you more chance to be more successful.
Exactly. Totally agree with you. Also, you have seen Indian racers like you, and you are also watching younger generation that is coming into the world of motorsports. So what do you think how Indian racers face challenges in this world of motorsports? And in India, since there is not much tradition and culture, so what are the challenges that they face?
I think, as you suggested, we don't have a big racing tradition in most of our families. It's not considered as even a sport in our country until lately. So the first challenge comes in, convincing your parents that this is what you want to do and this is the path you want to follow. And the second bigger challenge is the financial constraint. For that, you have to get sponsorships. It's impossible to drive with your own money. Motorsports is expensive. There's no other side to it. But there's always sponsors. There's always people who are ready to support you. But you have to, get to meet them. You have to connect with them. And I think the most difficult situation most Indian racers would face is getting the right sponsorship. And I'm also been working so hard to get sponsors. Definitely, I'm supported by MRF right now, but we would still need more sponsors to, upgrade the cars to have easier running costs. But we always find it difficult, and so I really feel, and right now I have a running training academy where I teach them how to approach sponsors as well, because that's the part most of us never gets taught about. So I think if you're prepared from a very young age how to approach sponsors, how to, make yourself valuable to them, I think it's possible to cover that challenge as well. But probably that's the biggest challenge Indian drivers are facing right now. So I think it's on the right direction, and more people are, getting aware of the sport and what it offers. So I think this challenge will be down in some time.
Okay, so like bringing sponsorship is a huge challenge for Indian racers. That's a point. But you also spoke about your racing academy. So tell us more about it.
So yeah, I have a rally school which I've been training almost 20 plus students over the last 3 years. I can proudly say that around 5 drivers have come up to my academy who are driving the national championship right now. So we do it as an academy as well as a rally experience program where anyone can come and drive a rally car and be taught how to drive a rally car. It's based fully on Coimbatore, and we have sessions every month where we have 5 to 6 students every month. So it's been running well, and because of that, I've been able to generate a lot of interest, especially in South India. And also, my intention was when I started this rally sport was there are a lot of people who wants to get into the sport but don't know how to and don't know what to do. So we are like a point where they can come, talk to us, train with us, and we'll help in all our ways possible to get into the sport and be prepared well to be competitive. So that is the idea, and we've been improving every year. And I'm sure in the next couple of years, we will have a state-of-art facility for proper training right from, being a child at a very young age. People can come and train with me and be a national champion at the age of 18.
Well, that is very nice and very good to hear that you are giving back to the sport and you are promoting motorsports in India. Very good to hear that, and we are very proud of you. So shifting gears, let's talk about the EVs and market that EVs are capturing today. So how do you think this incoming of electric vehicles will influence the world of fast racing and professional racing?
So the backbone of any motorsport is auto manufacturers, because they would be the only people who are ready to spend for the sport, because they have a lot to take back from it. And considering all manufacturers is getting into EV market and getting into EV cars and abandoning ICE cars, the motorsports world also has to get into EV and start preparing EV cars for racing, because that's when we can give back to the manufacturer through racing. And but definitely there are a lot of safety issues right now, but we have come a long way in motorsports, making the cars safer for the drivers and co-drivers. So similarly, I'm sure the right people will work upon it and make sure to race an EV car is safe. And we've also been seeing Formula E and rally cross with EV cars. So it's definitely coming, and I think that is the way to go. So we have to admit the fact that we might be raising EV cars in the next 5 years.
Right. So we need to adapt to this changing situation, and EVs might capture this profession too, right? So moving ahead, you spoke about safety, right? So how do you think innovation in safety technology is important for this sport?
As I said a little earlier, motorsports has come a long way in terms of safety. If you look at how safe the cars are right now compared to the cars in 60s or 70s, there's a lot of engineering behind it on how to put the roll cages, how to strengthen the chassis, so that in case of a crash, nothing happens to the driver or the co-driver. So I would say it's quite important to keep innovating this, to keep improving the safety, so that definitely the speeds of the car are also getting higher every year by year with that increase in technology. So with that speed, definitely the safety also has to go up, so that we can still race in a safe environment. And so these innovations and safety both are quite important in motorsports. It can never stop.
Yeah, so that was a quite valuable insight for engineering students like us. Moving ahead, we have a very interesting segment coming up. And it's called Rapid Fire. I'll be asking you a few questions and you can answer without thinking much, right? So, can we begin?
Sure.
Okay. So, favorite professional car?
Polo.
Okay. And German manufacturer or Italian manufacturer?
German.
Great. Right turns or left turns?
Left turns.
Left turns it is. Okay. Best race of your career?
Qatar International Rally.
Oh, nice. And favorite everyday ride?
My bike, Honda CB300R.
Okay, so you're into bikes. Nice. And favorite racing game growing up?
Colin McRae Rally.
Okay. And finally, the big one, Alonso or Hamilton?
Hamilton.
That's great. And Hamilton fans, sir is also in our team. So that's great news for us. It was really great interacting with you in this session and interacting with a motorsport enthusiast and an icon himself. I'm really honored. So I'll be asking you a few more questions. Today we are witnessing the world full of data analytics, right? So how do you think data will help grow this sport? And do you use it in your skill? And how do you think it contributes to the sport?
Actually, data analytics is a big part of motorsports because when you drive and the data is being logged from the car, only with this data we are analyzing whether we are improving the drive, what is the mistakes we are doing, where can we increase the speed, where you have to reduce the speed. And also we give a lot of data, get a lot of data from the tires, so to give back to the tire manufacturers to improve the tires. So basically all this data helps us go faster, helps us improve the cars, the tires, everything. And at the end of the day, all this improvements will end up in the production cars and production tires, which is used by everyday drivers and on the road. So, and this data analysis is quite important, not just to go fast or not just to become a better driver, but to make sure we are giving back to the auto manufacturers, as I mentioned a bit earlier. And it has been an important part of motorsports for quite some time, right?
Right. So data has become a very important part of motorsport too. That's nice. Also, speaking about motorsport, how do you think teamwork and communication are important for this sport?
It's quite important. It's, in a race, you see only the driver and the car, but you have to understand that there will be like 100 people behind the team who will be designing the cars, preparing the cars, making sure the car runs well, who will be, making sure the physique of the driver is good enough to race. So you have to keep communicating with your engineers, with your teammates to make sure you have the right package. If you have some problem with the car, you have to communicate that to understand the engineers what is the problem, and they'll find a solution. So communication is very important. And for me personally, being a rally driver, I have a co-driver in the car, and without a proper synchronous relation with him, it's impossible to drive a rally car fast in those narrow stages. So it's all up to him, his calls. It's totally, I depend on what he says about the roads ahead, and I trust him 100%, and that's how I am able to drive fast in those roads. So communication and teamwork, equally important, very important in motorsports.
Right. So rally racing does demand a lot of team spirit, and you are full of it, and we are very proud of that. So you also spoke about physique of the driver, right? So how do you maintain your physique and your mental health? How do you do it?
So a lot of people has a misunderstanding that being a racer or a rally driver doesn't need a lot of physical strength or endurance, because they think it's just sitting inside the car and driving, but it's quite opposite. If I do a 30-kilometer stage, it burns equal calories to how much I would burn if I cycle for 2 hours in full power. So that's how physically demanding rally is. To make sure I am on top of my physical health, I make sure I do strength training and cardiovascular training every week. I change between gyms and cycling. So that's how I maintain my physical fitness. And as you said, mental fitness is also quite important, because at the end of the day, if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to able to perform. So to make sure I'm mentally ready to take a race, I spend a lot of time on my simulator before my race days to make sure I'm in that mindset. And I also do a bit of meditation to, keep up my focus. And yeah, that's what I do.
Well, that's a lesson for all of us, since we are also a motorsport enthusiast team. So I think we must also follow sir's advice and go for physical fitness and mental fitness both. That's great. Also, speaking of TeamKART, so we are a passionate bunch of students in college who are really enthusiastic about building a race car and going to the Formula Bharat or Formula student competitions. So how do you think educational institutions and colleges should play a role to promote motorsports in India?
So just like I said, if you start young, it's always better. And if you're able to get this opportunity in college or in school, you're able to understand that this is your passion, this is the calling for you at such a young age, and you'll be able to continue that and be competitive at a very young age. So colleges and schools have a very crucial role in doing this. And I'm really happy a lot of colleges like yours, they are doing this formula projects where you get to know how to build race cars and how to, some people will get to drive it fast. So, and as you get to know, it's not just the racer or the car, it's a lot of teamwork. I'm sure you all will be given different departments where you work hard on that. So it's a very good platform, all these formula programs, Baha programs and all, where you get to know taste of motorsports, and you can decide if this is what you want to do once you step out of college. So more colleges should definitely come up with these programs and take part in these programs and allocate a budget for this. And I'm really happy that your college is doing that.
Thank you very much. And lastly, what is one piece of advice that you'd give to TeamKART or any other Formula student team? And how do you think we are working? How should we improve? Any advice that you want to give?
So in motorsports, it's all about perseverance. You may not be successful in your very first attempt, because a lot has to be learned through experience. So just make sure you never give up. You keep working onto it. You have dream big, and always work towards it until you achieve it. And I'm sure you'll achieve it one day.
That is a very valuable message from you. And we are very glad that we got an opportunity to interview you. And it's very honored. And I feel really honored to interview you. And I really hope that we meet you soon in person.
Sure.
Wishing you all the best in your future endeavors. From IIT Kharagpur, this is TeamKART. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today.